Hello, hello. How's everyone doing on tonight? I am Shalita Marshall, your divorce coach, and I'm so excited about tonight's topic rebuilding your life after divorce with Angela James, PLPC. Ms. James currently resides in Princeton, Texas. She is originally from a small town called Millville, Louisiana. She is a child of a king, a wife to a God fearing husband, and a mother of six beautiful children, ranging from the ages of 26 to 16. She currently holds a dual intern license as a professional licensed counselor for the states of Texas and Louisiana. Angela also has a Master of Science in Clinical Mental Health Counseling and a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in accounting. She is currently working on a dual MBA MHA and expected to graduate in June of 2022. Angela has more than 10 plus years working with individuals and organizations in a healthcare arena. She mentors and counsels individuals and couples to overcome personal obstacles to improve their relationships. Angela has an ability to make meaningful connections with audiences and an unsustainable appetite for helping others maximize their potential. She has a passion for empowering people on identifying and overcoming their personal obstacles in life. So we are going to welcome Miss James to the stage. How are you doing on tonight?
Hi. Great to be with you guys on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to have you, and I'm so excited to talk about this topic because a lot of us going through this situation, we don't believe that there is life after divorce. We don't believe that we can be rebuilt after divorce, and we don't believe that we can survive after divorce. So I'm so excited to have you on here to talk about this, and I will let you get to it.
Thank you. Our topic tonight, overcoming. How do we rebuild our life after divorce? I myself once was where you guys are, divorced, a single mother of two daughters at that time. I felt unloved, confused, frustrated, just outright angry. There are so many phases that we often go through after divorce, or even when we're walking through the process of divorce. A lot of times people don't understand that, but the most important thing that we have to do, and that's take time to heal from the wounds of our past. Many people don't realize that when you're going through a divorce, that's a stage of grief. We grieve after divorce. We grieve the life that we once had. We often feel just a triad of emotions, from feeling overwhelmed, feeling frightened about what is to come, what's next for us. You may feel sad, you may be shocked, you may be even mad, disappointed, feel betrayed, even in denial. So after divorce, we look around and it's a new life. You think about your sense of time. What are you going to do now? Everything in life feels different to you. Your mind and your heart just may wonder and go back and think back on the past of who you were. Now you have to decide, who will you become? We have to change our mindset when we're walking through a divorce. We have to change the mindset of divorce happened to us to divorce happened for us. So oftentimes I call that my finding myself stage. Discovering and taking care of who you are yourself. That can include anything from preparing for what's coming in your life, preparing for what best practices, how will you structure your time, what will you learn to do, and also learning to let go. This stage often involves, taking time to consider deeply your story. What brought an end to your marriage, to that relationship, whether that be good or bad. But we also have to think about the roles that everyone in that marriage played. We all know that no matter how amicable, the end of our marriages are. Divorce just has a way of reminding and turning our lives upside down. Divorce takes us outside of our comfort zones. Divorce is all about change. So there's 5 points that I just want to talk to you about that I learned as I was walking through my own divorce. I was in a marriage for 10 years that kind of ended on the basis of infidelity. So the first point is, it's gone. Life as we knew it, the marriage as we knew it, it's all gone. I stayed in bed. I was depressed for days. I would go to work. I would come home. I didn't want to face anybody. I isolated myself from people. And that's because I just didn't want to face the questions I didn't have answers to. I didn't want people to ask me questions and I didn't know how to answer them. Sounds kind of obvious, huh? I know we all kind of deal with that. A few of us I like to consider resistors to reality. We spend months or even years in denial about the fundamental impact that divorce has on us. We strive to blindly maintain a lifestyle. We strive to maintain a lifestyle when we're married, whether that's going on similar vacations, eating out at trendy restaurants, placing groceries inside a specific area of our cars, checking prices or quantities of things, everything that we did when we were married. We find ourselves still doing those things only because we want to kind of keep up this persona of what we feel our reality is or should be. You find yourself just doing things or worried about, downscaling for fear that you'll lose friends. You try and keep up the persona of these, whether it's still living in the same areas, still maintaining the same vehicles, still running with the same crowds of social friends, all because we're just trying to keep up what our marriage looked like. When you're going through, life after divorce can be very, very difficult, not just materially, but psychologically and emotionally. So the sooner we come to terms with what our new reality is, then that's the sooner we can learn to adjust, redirect, and then start to shape our futures in a sense of how we want our futures to be. So point number 2, even when we do our best, your children feel the effects of divorce. If you have children inside, I know we try as parents, we say, oh, we're going to keep this from our kids, we're only going to show them the good side. They still feel the effects of it. This is just, it's just reality for us. We can't be so focused on shielding our children that we miss what they're actually going through. Because the same way you're walking through the divorce, the children are walking through the divorce. I know we like to say that our kids will bounce back quickly. They're resilient, they're young, they don't understand. And this very well may be true in some situations, but know that they are living the same divorce that you are. You're a woman, not a robot. I had to come to terms with that. We all have our limitations. During and after divorce, your emotions, they remain scattered. They're afraid, they're short wired. You don't have the patience that you once had. Everyday decisions just become overwhelming for you. You definitely try to maintain that strong, resilient attitude, and you try and let things roll off your back. You want to be the best mother possible for your children. You want your children to see that you stand tall and that you don't fall apart. We all have bad days, and it's okay to let our children see that we have bad days, but it's also great for them to understand that a bad day doesn't have to keep you down. You get up after those bad days. You slip. You might vent about your ex in the front of your children, or you're talking to your friends and your kids overhear it. You're just venting off that frustration or that desperation. But no matter how old our children are, even if they're adults and not living in the home anymore, divorce impacts everyone. It may affect their outlook and their ability to connect with others. It can also affect family functionings, holidays, splitting kids up. You take them for Thanksgiving, spouse X takes them for Christmas. All of their life changes as they know it, just like your life changes as you know it. Although you may feel some closure with your ex, after the divorce document is signed and he's no longer living in the same house, if you have the children, he will always be in your life no matter what. So you have to learn to cope. You have to learn to coexist. Divorce means communicating. It means communicating in a different manner. Even if you've been in a marriage that communication has just been poor in, you have to learn to communicate when children are involved. This can be drop-offs, pickups. Children's lives are disrupted. And afterward, each of you have to figure out how to move forward and how to create a new life together. When we're dealing with your children directly, among the best things you can do is just acknowledge their pain. Just like you want somebody else to acknowledge your pain, we have to acknowledge their pain and their perspective and not badmouth either our spouse in the front of them. We have to listen to them, understand that while the reasons of your divorce might not be obvious, to you, they are less obvious to your children. You can help them feel less confused by being straight and honest and keeping the lines of communication just open instead of shutting yourself off or shutting yourself down from the world. This does not mean treating your kids as an equal. We always say, "Oh, I'm going to treat them as an equal. They're an old soul, they're an adult trapped in a little kid's body," but they're really not. Just be open about the issues in an age appropriate manner. The third pointer, certain friends and family have disappeared. Yes, it is true. Loyalty comes and loyalty goes. It just depends on who your friends and family are loyal with. This is just reality as well. Some will be loyal to you while others will be loyal to your ex. Divorce just means change, and you're probably feeling this socially and family wise. It's a huge awakening for many of us that the friends we thought we were so tied to and the friends we thought were true to us, they have now just disappeared and become mute. It's as if they fear your divorce might be contagious. You do have some people that, "Oh, I don't want to go through what they're going through." So they end up, walking away. And that's okay. People are allowed to come and go. Your true friends and family, they'll remain by your side. In the wake of the space that is left vacant by other people, you have to be in touch with yourself, understand yourself. I had to find new hobbies and new interests, things that I never thought I would do. I now love to do. This helps you discover new people in your life. It helps you push yourself to get outside so that you shift your mindset to take up an activity that you've always wanted to, but just never had the opportunity to do. This can be volunteering, this can be traveling. You can even join a support group where other divorced women, you guys talk about the issues that you all are having. You give advice, they give advice. This helps everybody to understand that what you're going through and who you're committed to recreating a healthier lifestyle with intentions. The fourth pointer, the shock of being replaced. Nobody ever wants to feel replaced in life. For those of you whose marriages may have ended in infidelities, we talk about this is a tough one. I know. Trust me, I definitely know. The lady that my ex-husband actually left me for, he is still with to this day. So when my kid is dropped off, for holidays, or we're all like one big coexisting happy family now. Never thought it would get to that point, but it is. So sometimes you'll have to see that person, family vacations, just any of those things. And you have to learn to coexist in a world that's okay. But when you end on a note of, it may be a sour note, it may be a note right now, it may not even feel good to you, but you have to understand that, it takes a while. It definitely takes a while. It's not easy, but it is doable. In either case, this can feel like a punch in the gut. You may often feel like, did you ever really love me? How could he date so quickly? What does she have that I don't have? All of those things is human nature to cross our minds at that point. But even if you wanted the divorce, it's not easy to keep jealousy at bay because you always wonder, what is it about her that I didn't have? Why is it that he chose her and he didn't choose me? But we also can't always just place blame on the opposite spouse. We have to also look in the mirror and take, initiative for ourselves and say, what is it that I contributed to the ending of this? And this helps to kind of lessen your pain a little bit, because you tend to grow and you tend to understand. Sometimes we end up in marriages that were never intended to be a marriage. We just tried to make a seasonal person a lifetime person. And it just caused us a lot of pain in the long run. This can be defined. A lot of this is defined by, I like to say, defined by other people, but you only know when timing is right. So you have to give yourself a break. You have to tell your friends, the good ones that you still have, hey, I don't want to hear nothing about what oh boy got going on over there. I need time for me. I need time to heal. I need time to grow. I need time to understand where I am in life and what I need to do in life for me. Sometimes it's as easy as developing a new routine for yourself, cultivating who you are, strengthening the bond, with other family and friends that you've made. It just makes space for you to metabolize and to go through and walk through the pain and the season that you're walking through. This brings us to critical number 5. Yes, learning to let go and adapting to the unknown. The unknown can be very scary for us. It can be difficult at first, especially if you're someone that loves to map out everyday routines. I'm that person. I know what I'm going to do that day. I probably know what time I'm trying to do it that day. So adapting to the unknown was just uncomfortable for me. When you're married, you have a certain vision about what you want your future to look like, what you want your future to do. You've probably had dreams about how you would retire, where you would spend vacations, who you wanted in your social circles, what would you do, and even how often you would visit grandchildren that you may have along the way. But divorce has now changed all of that. It has changed the trajectory of your life. So, in life after divorce, one of the hardest things is accepting that you must let go. You have to let go of all those dreams that involved him and possibly even involve people that are connected to him. You have to allow yourself the time and the space to grieve. You have to take stock of the losses that you've lived through in life and just recognize that you may not be grieving, you're not grieving a death, but you are grieving a husband that you lost. You are grieving dreams that you've lost. You are grieving visions that you've lost. Just you have to understand and recognize that as much as you are grieving as a way of being fantasy, the fantasy was your marriage. So you have to let go of that fantasy. Letting go means letting go of the ideal that we cannot control everything. We cannot control things. Sometimes things are outside of our control, and we have to learn to adapt to that. Yes, life after divorce is painful. It's a very painful time for us. It can be crazy at times, but the journey is not over. It's just reached a particular place where it's time for you to process your grief, grieve the loss, reconnect with who you are and who you want to be. So after divorce, I like to say your canvas is blank. You create your canvas. Think of it as a slate that's been wiped clean. So dare yourself to be the artist and live again, to love again, to take chances again. You are the artist. Paint the picture that you want. If there are 2 things I definitely want you to hold on to tonight, that would be: 1, forgive yourself for the mistakes that you're bound to make, always keeping a positive attitude. Always look for the positive in every single situation. And lastly, the second point is give yourself the credit that you deserve, not letting other people's opinions sway you one way or the other.
Wow, wow, wow. What some awesome points that you gave us, Miss James. That was so, so good. Um, I just want to recap some things that spoke to me, because I could definitely relate to, those type of feelings that you have when going through a divorce. You said forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made, and that was something that I had to do as well, because initially when you're going through that, you want to blame everything on your ex, and it's like, no, you played a part in it too. You may not have played a major role as they may have, but you played a part yourself. So it's very, very important to forgive yourself and to learn from the mistakes that you made in that marriage. Another thing that you said was keep a positive attitude. I know that it's hard to have a positive attitude going through something like that. Like nobody can ever see the rainbow on the other side. Like there's just always going to be that dark cloud over you, but eventually one day that cloud is going to move, just like in the natural. We have the rainy days, the clouds, you know, like now we're having this wind stuff that's going on, but eventually those things do move away, go away, or subside. So just keeping that open mind, just having that change of attitude, changing your mindset is very important going through this situation as well. And you have to heal. You can't stay just mean and angry like the rest of your life. I know that we may want to, we may feel like it. I know for me, that was something that I said. I was like, oh, I'm going to hate him forever. I'm going to be mad. And I really did want to be mad and hate him forever, but that was not the plan, that God had for me. Once I started learning about forgiveness, I really understood that forgiveness is not for the person. And so that's one thing that we have to understand as the hurt people and the people who are going through these situations, that forgiveness is not for the person. The person, they may not even be thinking about you. So at someone, we have to, even with that, just let them go and let them live the life that they're living.
That is
Because
definitely a big one, in divorce situations, is learning to forgive yourself, because a lot of times we're so wrapped up in I'm not going to forgive the other person, but we
yeah,
forget that we also need forgiveness, and the only way to completely heal from a situation is to
yeah,
give ourselves that forgiveness, because to be honest, the other person could care less if you forgive them or not.
right.
So in order for you to move forward in life, we do have to learn to forgive ourselves, because that's the first step in healing. And it is difficult keeping a positive attitude in those situations, because we feel like the entire situation is negative. So what positive do you want me to take out of a negative situation? But we also have to understand that if we're planning to move forward and not, I mean, if you're planning to just stop living, then fine, so be it. Don't forgive yourself, don't forgive anybody else. But if you're planning to keep living and growing, we have to understand what roles we played and what could have been done differently. And that may be
Yeah.
just as simple as loving yourself enough to not be treated a certain way. So you have to forgive yourself for allowing the other person to treat you in that manner, if that makes sense.
No, that's so, so true, because a lot of times, I can speak for myself. You're in this marriage, you have this family now, so you're tending to everybody else but yourself. So then you lose sight of who you are. And that goes to my next point, discover who you are. Like we get so lost in the marriage to where we don't know ourselves anymore. We don't like the way we look anymore. We may not like the weight gain that we've gained, just all these different things to where it's like, wow, who am I now? We stop doing the things that we like to do. Depending on your situation, maybe finances or this, that, you may not get to travel no more. You may not go out to eat anymore. Just buy those, go to the mall and just shop whenever you want to. We just really lose sight of the things that we like to do before we got married. And I feel like we're not taught that, um, as far as coming together and building something, you have to stay your own individual self, not being selfish or like not hiding things or stealing from the finances, or just those type of things. But you still have to be the person that you were before you got married. I hear a lot of people saying that they once they find somebody, they will become complete, and that's so not true. You need to be 100% complete before you even meet somebody, because then if you 100, then they are 100, then what that's going to be like 1,000-fold household, and that's my goal in life, is just to continue working on myself, continue just getting whole, whatever needs to be broken, just broken off me, so that I can be whole for when the next person do come, because I would like to be married again. So hey, I don't know, but that's a
Yeah, I
question
like
that
to
I
say
have.
it's a difference in healthy versus unhealthy marriages,
Mhm.
because unhealthy marriages, a lot of times we go in with all these self I guess self, I don't know, I don't want to call them negatives, but we go into the marriage and we expect the other person to make us whole. So we allow them to tell us what we need to do. Well, you need to lose weight. You need to change your hair color. You need to, wear this. You need to work here. And then when the divorce happens, we're blaming the other person when in
Mhm.
actuality, we took on the identity that they gave us.
Yes, right, right. Yep, yep, yep. Because you lose sight of yourself and you just become, I like to call it the yes person. So you say yes to everything that they told you, to where you didn't stop to think about, okay, what is it that I actually want? Okay, no, I don't feel like this today. And being okay with saying no, that was something that I had to learn. I became a people pleaser. Well, it started before the marriage, but in the marriage, I really became a people pleaser, and I didn't have a voice. I went along with everything that was said. I went on all the family vacations that they planned. It was just like I didn't have a I wasn't a person anymore. I was just a tag along, and that's how I felt at the end of the day. Like I was just living with them, living, in their life, and just doing things with them. And like you said, when you're in that, when you're in an unhealthy marriage. So just learning those things and recognizing, like you said, the part that you played, because we all play a role, whether it's
Yep.
good, bad, whatever. We all play a role. So I want to ask you, like, I know that you're remarried, and well, hold on, let me back up. So you mentioned that you coexist with your ex and his wife. Like, how did that happen? Like, how did you get there? Because most women feel like, oh, I would never be able to see her. I would never be able to speak to her, or this, that, and that. But when you have kids with someone, you gonna have to change eventually, or you just gonna keep having it in your face, and then what? You just gonna be mad all the time. So just share with us, like, how were you able to deal with that, and like overcome the anger or bitterness, the things that you may have felt during that time.
Um, like I said, it wasn't overnight. Definitely, it was a learning curve and a learning process. Pretty much everything that I've stated today was me learning who I was and learning what happened in the divorce and getting to a place of accepting my role as well as his role and understanding that we just tried to make something fit that never should have been, and it was difficult, seeing him with her initially at first, especially because I felt like when we split, he was with her and I was with nobody. So it was a sense of, okay, so now I got to deal with this being thrown in my face every time I see you guys. But it was learning to put my child before myself and learning that, he wasn't a great husband, but he was a great father. So at the end of the day, it was learning that you have to, when you have those responsibilities, my baby came first.
Yeah.
So, in order for her to see her dad, of course, I wanted to be like, no, as long as you with her, you can't see her. No, it's not going to happen. But that didn't happen. So, we're at a place now. It's funny because my current husband, like we all can sit down have a barbecue, or we do birthday parties, or when they're in town, because we live in separate states. So when they're in town, we'll say, hey, if you guys need a room or you need to stay over, you guys can stay at the house,
Wow.
hoping they'll probably say no, but still, we
Right, but that's big of you to
we
even offer, like, most people, that wouldn't even be a thought in their mind, like, oh, let me ask them, do they want to come over?
but it is a process. It's definitely not easy, but it's learning each and every day that I love my daughter
Mhm.
enough to say, I want your dad to be a part of your life. I never want him to get to the point and tell her, I couldn't be a part of your life because your mom was so bitter, or your
Yeah,
mom was so angry about what occurred. So I had to actually accept the fact that when we married, I think me marrying was to escape some other things that were going on in my past. So it
mhm,
was, I married not because I really loved you, but I married because you could take me away from what I was going through. So when I
yeah,
actually accepted that, then it was like, okay, you started off with a rocky foundation. So
mhm,
you can't, it's like people say, you can't build a house on quicksand.
right, yeah, yeah, that's so good, so good. So how long have you been remarried now?
We have been together mm, 9 years
Okay,
and married for 4.
okay. And how did your kids like adjust to you getting remarried? Because I'm sure you got remarried after their dad did. So I know it was one thing for them to adjust to him, but then it's like, okay, I have mom. Well, I feel like that's what my situation gonna be like. Because me and my daughter, we've been together for 4 years now by ourselves. So I feel like she just got over her dad being remarried, so it's like, woo, what's gonna happen when mommy get remarried? So how did they adjust to you getting remarried?
So it wasn't a situation where we dated and then after a month I moved you in. It was a lot of him getting to know them and them getting to know him.
Yeah,
A lot of trial and error days. There was a lot of, oh, you're taking my mom from me, because they get accustomed to just having mom, and
yeah,
then all of a sudden this new guy comes in the picture and you're not my dad. How are you going to tell me what to do? And now it's to the point, like, the baby, which we only have one left at home, 16. She's to the point now, is like, her in her phone, literally they are labeled as daddy number 1 and daddy number 2. So she
oh,
knows who's calling, who's not, and she'll tell
yeah,
my current husband a whole lot of things that she won't tell me.
mhm,
So their relationship is really good, and I think it was a plus that he also had girls, so he knew, how to maintain the attitudes, and because we can be sassy from
yeah,
time to time. We're women. So but him just understanding and letting them know that I'm not here to take anybody's place.
yeah,
I'm just here to add to what you guys already have.
yeah. That's good. That's good. Well, those are the questions that I had for you. Do you have any questions for me or anything else that you just may want to share with everyone?
I just want everybody to know that you are not alone. Even on those days where you feel like nobody understands, you feel like nobody knows what I'm going through, even if it wasn't said tonight or it wasn't mentioned, divorce is divorce. Allow yourself the time and the space to heal. Don't be rebounding. A lot of times we get we don't want to be alone. We've been with somebody so long and we rebound from one thing into the next thing. Allow yourself time to grow, learn from exactly what you are learning from, and do exactly what, but a big, huge thing, do not bring your old relationships into your new one. You have to heal now so that you're not bringing the past into the current. If you truly want to grow and you truly want, what marriage is truly all about. And it's just being on the same page with that person, learning, growing, setting boundaries, talking about that beforehand. Because a lot of times we get so wrapped up in, you ask me to marry you, I say yes. And then after I've said yes, we want to talk about what boundaries look like. Do it
Mm-hmm.
up front. Then you'll know, is this going to last, or is this just a dating season?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Well, I don't see any questions in the chat. Um, but if you guys have any questions that you may think about later on, you can always comment below, or you can send each of us a message. And I just want to thank you again for joining us on tonight. And I hope that you were able to gain some insight from Ms. James on how to rebuild your life after divorce. And until next time, I am Coach Shalita.